Hey guys, I gave you a break from Miss Boyd for the weekend. I thought you could use that time outside and time to be with your family and just enjoying the weather. So I didn't do a read aloud for 2 days, but when we left off the last time, we left off with Via having a complete meltdown in her room and Mom having to deal with that. And Augie had decided that he wasn't going to wear his Boba Fett costume to school even after Mom had put all that work into it. He decided he was going to be the bleeding scream. Now, when we start today, we're going to be on page 76, and the title is called The Bleeding Scream. So let's see what happens with Augie. Walking through the halls that morning on my way to the lockers was, I have to say, absolutely awesome. Everything was different now. I was different. Where I was usually walked with my head down, trying to avoid being seen, today I walked with my head up, lifted high, looking around, because I wanted to be seen. One kid wearing the same exact costume as mine, long white skull face oozing fake red blood, high-fived me as we passed each other on the stairs. I have no idea who he was, and he had no idea who I was, and I wondered for a second if he would have ever done that if he'd known it was me under the mask. Now, I was starting to think this was going to go down as one of the most awesome days in the history of my life. But then I got to homeroom. The first costume I saw as I walked inside the door was Darth Sidious. It had one of the rubber masks that are so realistic, with a big black hood over the head and a long black robe. I knew right away it was Julian, of course. He must have changed his costume at the last minute because he thought I was coming as Jango Fett. He was talking to two mummies who must have been Miles and Henry, and they were all kinds of looking at the door like they were waiting for someone to come through it. I knew it wasn't a bleeding scream they were looking for. It was Boba Fett. I was going to go and sit at my usual desk, but for some reason, I don't know why, I found myself walking over to a desk near them, and I could hear them talking. One of the mummies was saying, "It really does look like him. Like this part especially," answered Julian's voice, and he put his fingers on the cheeks and the eyes of the Darth Sidious mask. Now, you remember a few chapters ago when he told his teacher that Augie kind of looked like Darth Sidious, and he made that Darth Sidious joke, but the teacher didn't catch on. And now he decided to wear the Darth Sidious costume to school just to get at Augie. "Actually," said the mummy, "what he really looks like is one of those shrunken heads. Have you ever seen those? He looks exactly like that." "I think he looks like an orc." "Oh, yeah. If I looked like that," said Julian's voice, kind of laughing, "I swear to God, I'd put a hood over my face every day." "I've thought about this a lot," said the second mummy, sounding serious, "and I really think if I looked like him, seriously, I think that I'd kill myself." What kind of person says those things about someone else? Who talks about someone's appearance like that? That you would kill yourself if you looked a certain way? Nonsense. "You would not," answered Darth Sidious. "Oh, yeah, for real," insisted the same mummy. "I can't imagine looking in the mirror every day and seeing myself like that. It would be too awful, and getting stared at all the time." "Well, it's only people like Julian and his friends that are doing the staring anymore." "Then why do you hang out with him so much?" asked Darth Sidious. "I don't know," answered the mummy. "Tushman asked me to hang out with him at the beginning of the year, and he must have told all the teachers to put us next to each other in all of our classes or something." The mummy shrugged. Now, Augie thinks it's Miles and Henry behind those masks. But who did the teachers always put him with in the classroom? And who did the principal tell him to hang out with? If you're having trouble, stay tuned, because maybe Some people aren't as nice as they pretend to be. The mummy shrugged. I knew the shrug, of course. I knew the voice. I knew I wanted to run out of that class right then and there, but I stood where I was and I listened to Jack Will finish what he was saying. I mean, the thing is, he just always follows me around. What am I supposed to do? Just ditch him, said Julian. I don't know what Jack answered because I walked out of the class without anyone knowing I had been there. My face felt like it was on fire while I walked back down the stairs. I was sweating under my costume and I started crying. I couldn't keep it from happening. The tears were so thick in my eyes I could barely see, but I couldn't wipe them through the mask as I walked. I was looking for a little tiny spot to disappear into. I wanted a hole I could fall inside of, a little black hole that would just eat me up. Now what do you think? What do you think about Jack Will saying he would kill himself if he looked like Augie? Gosh, and all this time we thought Jack was the good guy. And the next chapter is names, and this will finish up our section before we start on part 2 of the book. The names that he's heard: Rat Boy, Freak, Monster, Freddy Krueger, E.T., Gross Out, Lizard Face, Mutant. I know the names they call me. I've been in enough playgrounds to know kids can be mean. I know. I ended up in the second floor bathroom. No one was there because first period had started and everyone was in class. I locked the door to my stall and took off my mask and just cried for I don't know how long. Then I went to the nurse's office and told her I had a stomach ache, which was true because I felt like I'd been kicked in the gut. Nurse Molly called Mom and had me lie down on the sofa next to her desk. 15 minutes later, Mom was at the door. "Sweetness," she said, coming over to hug me. "Hi," I mumbled. I didn't want her to ask anything until afterward. "You have a stomach ache?" she asked, automatically putting her hand on my forehead to check my temperature. "He said he feels like throwing up," said Nurse Molly, looking at me with very nice eyes. "And I have a headache," I whispered. "I wonder if it's something you ate," said Mom, looking worried. "There's a stomach bug going around," said Nurse Molly. "Oh, geez," said Mom, her eyebrows going up as she shook her head. She helped me to my feet. "Should I call a taxi or are you okay walking home?" "I can walk." "What a brave kid," said Nurse Molly, patting me on the back as she walked us toward the door. "If he starts throwing up or runs a temperature, you should call the doctor." "Absolutely," said Mom, shaking Nurse Molly's hand. "Thank you so much for taking care of him." "Oh, it's my pleasure," answered Nurse Molly, putting her hand under my chin and tilting my face up. "You take care of yourself, okay?" I nodded and mumbled thank you. Mom and I hug-walked the whole way home. I didn't tell her anything about what had happened, and later when she asked me if I felt well enough to go trick-or-treating after school, I said no. Now you got to remember that's a big thing to say, because Halloween was his favorite time of year. This worried her since she knew how much I usually loved trick-or-treating. I heard her say to Dad on the phone, "He doesn't even have the energy to go trick-or-treating. No, there's no fever at all." "Well, I will if he doesn't feel better by tomorrow." I know, the poor thing. Imagine him missing Halloween. Now, I got out of going to school the next day, too, which was Friday. So I had the whole weekend to think about everything. And I was pretty sure I would never go back to school again. Now, guys, do you see how sometimes our actions and our words can affect people far beyond what we think they can do? Already, he's upset, he's crying, he's missed his favorite holiday, he left school, he's not going to school, and now he's decided he's not ever going back again. Guys, please be careful with your words. Be careful with what you say about other people. Always make sure they're kind. Now, I want to say one more thing. Remember, tomorrow is our conference call with Zoom at 12. We have a surprise on there for you all. Also, Be sure to check on Facebook. There's daily challenges on there. And if you're submitting those answers, you get a prize sent out. This morning, I sent out a prize to Mackenzie Kendall for completing one of the challenges last week. And tomorrow, I have a prize going out for Ethan Thompson for completing the precept challenge that I asked you all to write. Now, if you all get on there and you complete one, you can email it to me. My email address is listed on the Facebook page. It's also mlboyd@k12.wv.us. If you get those sent in, I will get you a prize sent out. So stay tuned for those challenges and keep up to date. And if there's anything that we can do for you all, please let us know. Thank you.